the world copies us, but at the same time disrespects us. So it's like a weird feeling being black and living in this country. So is there anything that you could tell me that cosmically that we may not know of that'll wake us up in the Western Hemisphere?
The sun is currently waking you up right now in the Western Hemisphere. And I want to explain something to you guys right now. First of all, there's like 4 different suns that are currently present on planet Kai. There is a 5th one. Okay. There is a 5th one, but hasn't made itself known as of yet. But right now, the sun that America is seeing right now is Nemesis. This is the other side of Ra. Okay. Ra has made it very clear to me, because I do talk to him. He's made it very clear to me that Nemesis has been seen in different parts of the world, but he said that in the United States itself will receive the justice that it's supposed to receive. Everything that's happening in America right now is karmatic, because there hasn't been any justice. When it comes to us and who we are as a people, I want you to understand. I said something to you. I literally dropped the dime on you when I said that when I'm looking at your karmic cycles, you have different higher aspects. So imagine you being a main vessel, and let's say you have about 7 or 8 different aspects, and those aspects are connected to you. And those aspects are different types of beings. Some aspects can be gods, some aspects can be ETs, some aspects can be different things. But you have access to this wealth of knowledge, but you're not communicating to these higher aspects because you don't know about them. If you was to tap into those higher aspects and you start getting that information and you start doing those upgrades, what do you think is going to happen? Who's going to stop you if you are fully activated? That is what they don't want to happen for us, because they know if we come together on the collective level, it is game over for them all the way across the board. All we have to do is understand that we are not separate from one another. We need to understand that we are a part of each other. There is no such thing as separation. You are source, and source is you. You are one and the same. You are not separate. You're no different than the guy who went out here and killed 50 people. You're the same being. Okay? You're the same being. And it's ego to think that you're separated from that. That's all ego. I'm explaining things to you guys on a whole different level, and some people may not be ready for this kind of information, but I'm going to bring the real to you as it's supposed to be brought. And for those of you that are listening right now, I know you guys are feeling the tingling sensations over your body right now because my words activate. Some of you guys are getting quivers in your body because you're hearing truth when you're hearing truth. Those quivers that you're feeling, those chills that you're feeling, I'm currently activating every single person on this live right now that's listening right now. That's what I'm supposed to do. Okay? So I want you to understand that you have a power that lies within you that scares the shit out of them damn people. Until you realize who you really are and coming to the knowing, not belief. Belief means not to know in Hebrew. You don't believe nothing. You have to come into a space of knowing who you are. You have to come into a space of wanting to know who you are. You have to start getting on that journey to self-discovery. You have to. Once you start doing this and your consciousness starts expanding, you're going to start understanding what you've always had access to. After that, guess what? You don't need these systems out here because you'll have the ability to create your own systems. They don't want you to do that. They don't want you doing these things. They need you they need you to fight one another. They need you to tear each other down. They need you to be distracted with stuff that don't mean nothing. Okay. They need you to be fully distracted with everything. So therefore you can't see what they're doing to cause you harm. Now, I also want to send a message out to everybody that's on this live as well. I'm going to share something with you. These police stations, this justice system, this entire matrix system, I want you guys to understand that the things that are protecting this system is cosmic. There are individuals that have been practicing the occult that knows our shit. And what they do is they go and put the most horrible images of things that scare you the hell away from it. So the worst thing you can do is be scared of yourself. Because here's what they're doing. They're accessing sigils. They're accessing seals. They're accessing certain information, and then they're placing those things on those temples, those Masonic temples. They're placing things on energy grids. They're doing all types of things. Any place that you see in this country where they have the execution, the death penalty, those are sitting on certain particular nodes for human sacrifice because they're sacrificing to their gods and who they worship. That's all that's about right there in terms of that. So any state that practices capital punishment, I need you guys to understand that is a Masonic ritual that is taking place every single time that happens. There are seals on the grounds of this planet right now that is preventing your ancestors from becoming free the way they're supposed to. Okay? Those seals and those sigils have sealed the power of your ancestors from coming in and entering into your body. But I'm going to let y'all know something. There's something major that's happening on this planet right now that is releasing these seals. And no matter how many times they try to go up in there and try to put those seals back in place, it's not going to work. When these seals are released on these lands, it's going to be all hell breaking loose because those ancestors are going to come. They're going to enter the body of their children. And then you're going to see the uprising of our people. That's going to take place before the great solar flash. So I want to make you guys aware of that. Okay, these flip systems and things like that. We said, well, how come they get away with this, that, and the third, and blah, 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 blah? Because they're accessing these reptilians and these grays are the ones that are pretty much over all police stations across America. They're using technology. They're very techy. So when you start talking about tech and things like that, those are reptilians, those are your grays. They're the top of the line technology gurus here. Okay, they're the top of the line when it comes to that. So what's happening is they're telling all your big top police chiefs and the people that are at the top, the police unions and the whole nine, they're doing rituals to these ET beings. They're doing rituals to also malevolent gods. Those malevolent gods are protecting these police stations and these forces. So now what I'm doing is I'm giving you the veil. I'm lifting the veil up so you guys have an understanding of what the hell's going on. Because you can't walk around here and be ignorant. Now, if our people would get back into their sciences and their knowledge and stop turning away from it and stop being scared of themselves, then they would be able to get access to that stuff and counteract that and begin to start counteracting things that's going on. The war has always been galactic and has always been cosmic. I need everybody on this live to understand this. It has always been this way. You have always been at war with beings that are in direct opposition to who you are. This war has been going on since the beginning of time. So you can't look at it as a black and white thing, even though the Caucasians are more susceptible to possession to these types of beings. You can't look at this as just a black and white thing. I need you guys to look at this from a much more higher perspective. As long as you're still on this 3D realm and you're still tied and tethered to this realm of thinking, you're never going to be able to see the truth for what it is. So I'm here just to blow it completely out of the water to make sure that people understand. So all my priests that are out here, instead of you warring against yourselves, y'all need to be getting yourselves ready for the real war that's coming about. And I guarantee you that warring against yourselves.
So when you talk about us being this Sirius X and Xylanthia, we was warned. Could you go a little in depth on Sirius X, Xylanthia, and was we warned during those times as well?
Not during that particular time period when Xylanthia was first created. No, a lot of your original beings and gods do come from planet Xylanthia. A lot of them do. The Orisha, they come from planet Xylanthia. Shango, the Orisha, is the king and the ruler of planet Xylanthia. Okay, they have another planet in Sirius X called Cerebus. His brother Dada comes from Cerebus. When you start talking about these Orisha and these creator gods, as I said before, those particular beings are rulers on different planets in Sirius X. So Sirius X is a very intricate star system. Sirius A is where all the souls are kept and where all the souls are created in Sirius A. Okay, Sirius B is a water planet, but this water planet is like kind of crazy because it's like you're like living and breathing in water there, same as Atlantis. A lot of people don't know that the realm of Atlantis is inside planet Kai in the ocean. Earth has approximately 33 realms on planet Kai. There's 33 realms. Atlantis is one of them. It's a huge realm here. And if you don't have the correct access codes or the access code, you cannot get to Atlantis. And I want to make people understand something. Only a sector of Atlantis was destroyed. You also have planet Atlantis. You have planet Egypt. You have planet Canis, which is where cannabis comes from. Okay, Canis. People be tripping off of that when I tell them that. I'm like, yeah, bro, weed came from the cosmos, so we've been doing this. There ain't nothing wrong with it. We've been doing this. So imagine traveling and going to Canis, okay, and getting some weed. And the beings there, you want to smoke them up. Like, come here, boy. We smoke you behind up, or something like that. I'm being funny, but you know what I'm saying. But yeah, Canis is the shit. I ain't gonna front. Go to meditation and go take it behind the planet Canis. You're gonna see what I'm talking about. You're gonna see.
Yo, it is fun talking to you. Wow. Oh man. So yeah, I've never heard about Sirius X like that. Rashad Jamal was just on here about a month ago, before his unfortunate incident, and he was telling us about Sirius X.
Yeah, so, me and him chopped it up. About that because we did a live together when I first came back off my 4-month hiatus off of Instagram, and he was actually the first one that came and greeted me because me and him being cool. But he came and greeted me, and I brought him onto the live, and we did this really dope live on Instagram. It was almost like a welcome home, like welcome back, because I had been going off Instagram for like 4 months. I was chilling off the YouTube because my baby brother passed away, so I was going through that grieving process and whatnot. And so it felt good when I came back, and he was the first one to greet me. But we talked about that. He said, "Yeah, that's true. I got that same download, sis." You know what I'm saying? And I was like, yeah, it's very real. But yeah, Sirius X is very real. We just weren't told about this stuff, bro. We weren't told about this. What's happening right now is all the stuff that's hitting in the Vatican. There are people that are activated that can tap into things. We don't need to access the Vatican anymore. We don't need you. I got me. Anything I want to know, I'm going to go inward. I'm going to access the Earth's Akashic records, or I'm going to access the Akashic records up in the cosmos.
Powerful.
The crystals have records that are kept. There are elders inside the crystals that can give you information, but there's a specific way that you have to go about getting access to that information. You can't just go and get access to that information.
Yeah.
Elves, gnomes, fairies, all of them are real. Okay. All of them are real. I'm actually working on a series right now called Earth Systems, where I'm going to start breaking down the actual Earth systems of Kai, because people don't know about the Earth systems. People don't even know about the tree of life that's still on this planet to this day. He is the father of all the trees. You have tree deities on this planet. Tree deities. Now what's happening is that people are starting to see these damn trees moving. This is a very real thing. I've showed it on video. Trees are moving. And people are like, what the hell going on, fam? I said they're preparing for war. So again, what's happening is the veil's being lifted. Also, for those who are operating on higher consciousness levels, the higher you operate on conscious levels, the more you're going to see. The less you're conscious, the less you're going to see. This is the reason why you can have two people standing next to each other. You're going to look up at the sky and you may see a cloud, right? You're going to see a cloud. I just see a cloud, right? But then I'm standing right next to you. I'm like, so we're just going to pretend like we don't see that shit right there sitting as plain as day, bro? What you mean? You don't see the shadow in the sky? Why would there be a shadow in the sky behind the cloud, fam? And then they look at it again like, oh shit, wait a minute, I didn't see that before. I said, when have you ever known a shadow on the sky? Think about it for a minute. Does that make sense to you? Why would there be a shadow in the sky?
Right. No, yeah.
How many pictures have you saw clouds with shadows in the sky?
That's facts.
Okay. Now you're starting to see these round rainbow portals. And if you look at them carefully, people say, oh, that's a double rainbow. That's a whole portal staring at you right in your face. And so you got information, you got people out here that are going to go out here and they're going to say, oh, because of this, because of that, blah, 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 incorrect information. This is the way it was explained to me. Because of the vibrational frequency on the planet, and because of how high it's raising, and because the veil's lifting, we're seeing things that we should have seen a long time ago. And we're going to continue to keep seeing things. You're going to continue to see other planetary bodies that you've never seen before. You're going to see ships. You're going to see suns or ships that look like suns. You're going to see planets that have, you're going to see starships that have their own ecosystems. Mm. You have some actual starships that are as big as galaxies that have their own ecosystems. An example, when they cut off that feed, when they were having that whole UFO disclosure and the whole thing was going down with the with that ISS.
Yeah.
Cut that damn feed off real quick. Mm-hmm. See, that's a whole nother thing that's happening. Those are our ancestors now coming into Kai. The only beings that are allowed to come into Kai right now is our ancestors, and they're the ones that's preparing for the war. Okay? They can come into the planet. They can leave the planet. They can come in. The Archons and the malevolent forces cannot leave this planet. They're stuck here. Mm. And they're fighting like crazy to get their asses up out of here. So I'm going to say this one thing. Parents, listen to your children when they tell you that something is scaring the hell out of them in their bedroom. Listen to them. Mm-hmm. If they're telling you this, you better pay attention to what they're saying. Don't be so caught up in what you got going on that you're missing the mark, because you're going to regret it later on down the road. The reason why there is an attack on the children, if you notice, there's a whole wave out now where our children are being attacked blatantly outright. The Uvalde, Texas situation that just went down, that was a sacrifice, plain as day. Okay? There were some other kids that got, right after that, you just keep seeing like kids getting killed, kids getting shot, kids getting ran over. There was a guy that ran over 3 kids, like I think the day after that, mm-hmm. or something like that, and he got arrested by the police. There is a full-on assault on our children right now. They're trying to cause massive confusion. Okay? They're exposing them to things that they should not be exposed to. They're doing things to help encourage changing their identity. Let me explain to you the real reason why this is happening. Because they're the ones that will not be able to be defeated once we're in our full self when it comes to this cosmic war. Why is that? Because they're the ones with the most creativity. You get a child that's activated, that has a full-on fledged imagination, you're not defeating that child. Mm. It's not happening. They know this. And so that's why now they're going after the children. They're going after them big time, because they know who it's going to really go down with when it comes to everything happening. They already know who's going to be smacking them out to oblivion. These children are actually in war in the astral state right now, and full-fledged wars, knocking out malevolent ET bases and the whole 9 right now, even as we speak. Okay? That's the other part of themselves. That's the other bodies I was telling you about. When they're in the astral state of the dream state. That's what's happening. Okay? And so they're going after the children because they know the children will be able to shut it all the way down. And it is going to go down like that. When they said that the meek shall inherit the earth, they ain't lying about that. I'm just giving you the reason why.
I forgot who I was talking to. I'm trying to think who was it. I might have been talking to Billy Carson. And I distinctly remember having reoccurring dreams when I was a kid. And I always had dreams about cosmic war, always, like just constantly. And I'm mad that I never told my mother. I never told her. I just kept it to myself because it's so outrageous that I'm like, who the fuck gonna believe me? But I regret it. Now that I'm older, I'm like, damn, why did I never tell my mother I used to have those dreams? So now that I have a son, like you said, I'm gonna pay close attention to the things he say. I'm gonna ask him like, hey, did you have a dream? I'm gonna inquire about these things because it was just constant. I remember laser beams, all types of crazy shit in a dream. I'm like, why am I dreaming about all this cosmic shit? I'm like 5-6 years old. So
premonitions. I'm picking up on you. You were having premonitions of the war to come. And it's crazy because are you still getting these premonitions, or has that stopped for you?
Stop. By the time I became a teenager, I didn't dream the same anymore.
You need to get some monatomic gold. And you need to start taking that on a regular basis. And I would suggest that you start meditating, so you can start getting back into your REM sleep. And also put some water under your bed for the next 7 days and see if you start dreaming again. Let me know if you start dreaming again. You got to get up. This is how this works. For those who are having problems dreaming, take a glass of water, stick it under your bed. When you wake up in the morning, you get up, you dump the water outside of your house in a place that you don't walk. Before you go to bed at night, do it again and put the water underneath your bed. What that's going to do is it's going to filter out a lot of that distraction, a lot of that energy that's blocking you from dreaming. If that doesn't work for you, you need to start taking monatomic gold. I would suggest you get the powder gold and not the liquid gold. Get the powder gold, so because it's a little bit more. I feel like the powder gold is a little bit more is a little bit more effective.
Mm-hmm.
And you can take some of the gold and you'll start noticing that you're going to be able to start recalling your dreams, because it's not that you're not dreaming. You're just not recalling or remembering the dreams. That's what's happening.
Well, is that for, because I dream every night, like several dreams, like I dream crazy every night, all the time, but it's just those cosmic dreams. I don't have those cosmic memories or premonitions. I don't have those anymore. You know what I'm saying? And
go back to doing what I'm telling you.
And do that. Okay.
Do that. Yeah. Start doing that. And you also must start meditating. But you got to be, but you have to be open to it. And you also have to surrender. You got to surrender. In other words, I need you guys to understand, if you up in here trying to figure this cosmic stuff out, you're going to lose the battle. Because when you're dealing in the cosmic realm, you got to start from here. You got to start feeling. How does it make you feel? When information is being given to you, how do you feel when you hear it? Do you resonate with some of the information that's being given to you? But you have to surrender to the information. Because what happens is we're too busy worrying about whatever people think. But here's the fact of the matter. I'll pull down your chart right now and be like, bro, yeah, you were supposed to, you're from here, you're this. You came here at this time period. This is what you were supposed to have been doing. But you got sidetracked because of this, and this. So you need to come back to this area and get yourself back on track so you can start doing the things that you're supposed to be doing so you can go ahead and send your butt right on up out of here. That's what we're supposed to be doing. Now, you have bots. I call them bots, or those that are soulless. I think they call them what, NPCs. I think they call them, that's some name that they use, NPCs. I'm old school, but you have those particular types of beings that are soulless beings, or you have these particular beings that just exist, but they don't have a soul. They don't have nothing. They just actually exist just to be existing. They have no consciousness about them whatsoever. They let the wind, like these are people that go with the wind. So like, for instance, if somebody, like, you could be a really good dude generally in your heart, and I feel like that's who you are, right? But then you're going to have people come out of nowhere on some, well, I'm just going to talk crazy about this person, right? Here's an NPC or a person that don't have a soul or a person that don't know themselves. They could be listening to you. They could be feeling the vibe and everything. But as soon as somebody unknown comes out and says something negative about that person, the people are going to sway and go the opposite direction. When you start seeing people go with the wind like this, these are people that do not know themselves. It's a possibility that they could be soulless. Okay. They don't have no solid ground and no solid foundation as to who they are. And it could be just as simple as that. Where they were not raised to have a solid foundation as to who they are. But you can see it because these individuals just don't have no sense of direction. So they're looking for people to lead them. I'm an advocate of think for yourself. Don't ask me to think for you because I'm not going to think for you. Well, how do I know this information is true? Go meditate. Go inward. Get your body together. Get your health together. Do all things that you know that's going to assist you. Read. Expand your consciousness. Exercise your brain. What are you paying attention to 99% of the time? Because whatever it is that you're paying attention to 99% of the time, wherever you're spending your time at, the majority of the time, that is exactly what you are. So you got to pay attention, and you also have to prioritize. So you have these bots out here that don't have any type of souls whatsoever. These are beings that actually that can be deleted. They can materialize and dematerialize. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but that's what they do. They materialize and they dematerialize. In other words, 1 minute they're there, the next minute they're not. But they have no sense of direction. I know you came across people like that before. I know.
Of course.
And they look dead in the eyes, or they have a certain kind of glare, a certain type of stare, like a glossy stare about them, where you can see they don't have a soul in them. You can see it as plain as day. They're just acting out more so, but they're not really feeling anything. They don't really feel that much. That's what I'm talking about.
Bobby Hemming called them automatons.
There you go. Automatons.
Automatons. Oh man, let's get to, I know the people got some questions. We got about 4,200 people in the building. I want to shout out everybody that's live. right now. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you share the video. Do you have a Cash App? You want the people to support? You got a Cash App? You want to share with the people?
I do. I am the realest to ever. So it's IAMTHEREALEST, the number 2 ever. You can send it there. I am the realest to ever. All of my social media besides YouTube is I am the realest to ever do it. Just make sure you guys spell it the right way. Okay. IAMTHEREALEST, the number 2 ever do it. A lot of my subscribers and followers, they know that. For those who don't know, there it is.
So the Cash App is I am the realest ever.
I am the realest 2, the number 2 ever.
Okay. All right. I am the realest 2 ever, right?
Yep.
I am. Get it right. Somebody else start getting this money. They be like, damn, where this coming from? I am the realest 2 ever. That's the Cash App. Okay. Put that on the screen, family. Yeah, it's important that y'all show support for those that are helping y'all. Let me throw my Cash App in there as well. Y'all, by now, y'all know the Cash App Black Magic 363. I mean, you ain't gonna get this nowhere else on a Monday night. Just casually dropping science about cosmic war and galaxies and Sirius X. You know what I'm saying? You casually talking about this, like you know what I'm saying. So I appreciate this conversation, family. I'm gonna get to some Q&A. Let's get to some Q&A before we get out of here, family. Give me a couple of good questions. I'm probably gonna get to about 5 questions. Give me some questions, family, and then we're gonna get out of here. All right. Let's see about the questions. Any questions from the family? Let me see if I missed any. She say your social media one more time. Isis, your social media.
I am the realest to ever do it. So you see how the Cash App is spelled? Just add the do it. That's it. Now you got some fake pages out there, so make sure you see the name is spelled correctly. I have about 87,000 followers on Instagram. So just you'll know it's me. Okay. The other pages don't have those type of numbers. Mine does. So that's how you know it's me. So make sure you come check me out. I also have a Telegram channel, same as t.me/I am the realest to ever do it. You can go check me on Telegram. That is my private community. I have close to 17,000 subscribers there. And that's where I'm more accessible, is on that channel. The people there, it's a loving platform. The people there, they are tuned into me. They know me. I've been dropping science. I've been doing activations with people. We do some really dope meditations and activations on the channel. Right now, I'm in the process of actually starting to do power activations for people, where I show them how to access their own power. And those are classes that I'm going to be doing, private classes I'm going to be doing. So make sure you guys come on over to the Telegram channel and check me out.
Before I see the questions is starting to get in it, but before we get to the questions, one last question I got for you, Queen. I'm doing a trip to Stone Mountain on Saturday with Red and Blue Pill. Is there anything you could tell us about Stone Mountain that we may not know before our trip there? Because you was talking about the crystal trees and all that. Anything you could tell us?
Yeah, well, Stone Mountain itself is a very large crystal, and a very powerful crystal at that. And I'm also going to let you guys know there's military bases there under Stone Mountain. And a lot of people don't know about that. I found this out when I used to live in Atlanta. I moved back in 2016 out of Atlanta. But when I first moved down there, like back in 2003, this is when I started catching wind, because I was picking up on the energy and didn't know what the hell it was I was picking up on. And so that's when it came to me about Stone Mountain. And Stone Mountain does have a lot of ancestral roots and ties there. The original Indian tribes that were there, because you got to remember that whole area of Georgia, that's where the Trail of Tears took place. Those American Indian tribes, which are really us, were safeguarding that place for a certain period of time prior to us being wiped out. But it is a very powerful energy source. I even tell people, I said, Obatala lives there. But it's a very powerful energy source that if you sit with it or go on top of the mountain and sit on top of the mountain, you can begin to start doing meditation, and you are immediately going to get contact immediately, just like that. Immediate contact. There's a lot of ETs that do come up and out of that area over there, a hell of a lot of ETs. There are also ET bases also underground underneath that mountain as well. And that's not the only mountain that's taking place at either. It's all over the United States. all over the United States. But that Stone Mountain, that one right there, you guys definitely need to go check it out, do some meditation and see what happens.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate you dropping that on us. Let's get to some Q&A. Y'all done flooded it with questions. Let me see. Somebody wants to know, Calypso Moon wants to know, can you tell me about a blue activation really vivid in my third eye? I was wide awake, seemed like a blue pearl expanding.
Blue activation. Okay. Are you familiar with blue avions? Because I'm getting a vibe that it's something to do with the blue avions. I think she may be connected to them some kind of way. And so that part of her first eye activating has something to do with that. But I would need to look into her a little bit deeper. That's the first energy that I pick up on, is something going on with the blue avion energy off the rip.
She said heard of them. She said heard of them.
That might be your cosmic family. And the only way for me to tell that is I'd have to do a cosmic reading. But because of where you're getting this activation at in particular, I'm picking up on that energy. So what I'll say to you is you are getting activated. There is a DNA activation taking place. Your first eye, I don't call it the third eye because actually technically the first eye. Your first eye is activating and you're going to start seeing things if you're already not starting to see. Are you getting visions?
Let me see. Calypso, if you could write real quick if you are getting visions. Yeah, and then yeah. Oh, she said I always had visions and dreams.
Boom. There it is. You need to start paying attention to that a little bit more because it's going to start expanding for you more. And I would even go as far as to say, if you're not already doing this already, you might even be able to start seeing out past this galaxy. I don't know if you're starting to see that or not, but I think if you're not, it's going to start happening to you. You're going to be able to see other planetary bodies and things like that. You're going to be able to see beyond what's here, what exists here. So you're activating.
Let's get to this next question. How can you notice when you are using discernment or ego?
Ego comes from the left brain. Okay. Ego comes when a person doesn't have the ability to be able to surrender. You have to learn how to trust. And you also have to learn how to operate from the heart space. So when you're using discernment, the easiest way that I discern is by going here and not here. You go here, you're tapping into the ego. You go here, you're tapping into your heart space. That's the easiest way for a person to be able to discern. You have to feel, baby.
That's facts. I say that all the time. Very important. Let's get to the next question. Afraid of the cosmic dreams, what are we supposed to do with that information?
You need to get out of the energy of fear, because that energy of fear is going to block you. That's number one. Number two, I would definitely seek out someone that is knowledgeable on that level to assist you to find out about the types of dreams that you're having. I don't know what type of dreams you're having. I don't know, so I don't want to make an assumption, because somebody could be having a dream about their powers and be scared to death of that. It may not necessarily be a bad dream. So you're going to have to figure out why you're in fear. And I would suggest that you start doing some shadow work to get to the bottom of where that's coming from.
Let's get to the next question from Robbie Wilson. 5 planets are aligning: Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, all in that order. Does this mean anything for us?
Yes, it does. And let me just say this too. With Saturn being in retrograde right now, oof. Listen to me, guys. You're going to sow the seeds of your karma, whether it was positive or negative. You got to sit. If I was you, I would definitely sit back. Anybody that's listening to this, I would definitely sit back and think about your projections onto others. I would sit back and think about how you've been treating people. As I told you, the shadows are currently being judged. We're all under judgment right now at this time. I would sit back and I would think about that for a period of time, because what's going to happen is that you are going to, for those who are still holding on to old ideologies, either you're going to go with the flow of things and surrender and do what it is that you're supposed to do, sit back, reflect, and introspect, start making the necessary changes to right your wrongs, et cetera, or you can operate out of your ego and then let this planet come and beat your ass. Because what's going to happen is that you're looking at a planetary ass whooping for those who are not operating in the space of love. If you have karma, negative karma, if you have good karma, you're going to receive a lot of blessings. Okay, a lot of good blessings are going to come out of nowhere. It's going to seem kind of crazy. It may even scare you that all the blessings that you're going to receive during this time period, if you have positive karma. So I want you guys to think about, do you have positive karma? Are you still holding on to some things that you need to let go? You need to start thinking about that. When you start looking at Venus, Venus deals as the planet of love. Are you operating in your heart space? Is that what you're doing? Mars, that's a planet of war. So with war taking place, as you can see right now, there's going to be a lot of that going on while Saturn is in retrograde. So in one aspect, you're going to have the opportunity to go within and continue to keep elevating. A lot of you guys are going to expand in consciousness because the downloads that you're receiving, that's a positive thing. And another aspect, if you're still operating in your lower self, if you're operating in your root chakra, you're going to have some issues. And those issues will maintain themselves until you surrender and make the necessary changes that you need to make for yourself. Now, I'm going to let y'all know right now, there's going to be a lot more shootings that's going to be taking place this year. It's going to get to a point to where people won't even let their kids go to school anymore. The school systems, as we know it, is done. I'm letting y'all know that that's over with. That's a wrap. So by the end of the year, you're not even going to see the schools operating the same way anymore. That's done. There's going to be more shootings of children throughout the rest of this year. Okay. We just did our Odu Ifa reading of the year in Nigeria, and the Odu that came out in Iku. In Iku, Yoruba means death, and that's for the entire world. Okay. I want people to understand that this war, when they're saying that they're making moves to do certain things to move against us, they ain't playing about that. They're not playing with us at all, especially us. They're not playing with us at all. It's mainly directed towards the indigenous. I need you guys to understand, do not think for a second that this war is not about you, because it most certainly is. Because they know, they're already seeing you with your little YouTube videos and your little videos you're putting up on TikTok and your little Instagram videos you're putting up there in your Facebook videos and stuff of you actually doing telekinesis and you're moving different things. Let me tell you something about that. Y'all have got to stop making yourselves targets, because every single time that you put yourself out there, you go into the database of the Matrix. Let me break something down to y'all. The Matrix has its own agents. They're called the Men in Black. They materialize and dematerialize. That's a very real thing. Every single time that you put yourself out there to show them your abilities, because that's all ego, every single time that you do that, they're creating a file on you. So when shit really hits the fan and you're fully activated, you're gonna be one of the first ones they're coming to scoop up. The mutants are activating. Okay, when they were talking about the mutants, that's activating. It's a very real thing.
Let's get to the next question. Is the crystal tree the same as the silicone tree, which once upon a time enabled us to live for hundreds of years at a time?
Yes. Yes.
Let's get to the next one. Please explain planet Nern.
Tell me you guys weren't going to let that go. I knew they weren't going to let that go. I knew they weren't going to let that thing go. All right. So I'm going to give you a quick story real quick about planet Nern. I need you guys to understand that Satan was one of the most beloved gods by all the gods and the goddesses, especially the Lunakai. Satan himself is a Lunakai. Source loved him a great deal. He was just very well loved and very well respected. What happened with him is that he just got tired of the light. He just got tired of it. To be honest with you, he just got tired of it. So what ended up happening is that he started traveling other star systems. He created another planet called Planet Nern. In the process of him creating Planet Nern, what he did was he would go and scour the galaxies. And what he would do is he would pick up unfinished experiments from different beings. Okay. Then he would mix animal DNA from the cosmos, what is considered to be their version of animals. They would mix the animal DNA in with different types of beings. And then these Caucasians were formed. Okay. That's why I call them Nernians. Okay. Now, not all of them come from Planet Nern, because as I told you, some of them reincarnated. They're really like something else at the core, but they decide to reincarnate in this particular skin tone for whatever reason, whatever mission that they're on. Okay. But I'm talking about these Caucasians. These are the ones that have the destructive energy. They're so destructive that Satan actually kicked them off the damn planet. Can you imagine you creating beings to worship you, which is the sole purpose of why he created them? He wanted to be worshipped. And then they were so unruly that they got kicked off the damn planet. And every star system that they went to, they got kicked out the star system. So we were invaded by them here, and they landed in the Caucasus Mountains. Now, I know that everybody heard about the story of Yaqub, but I can't find no records of Yaqub around anywhere. I don't see no records of Yaqub in the cosmic realm. I can't pull down no records on Yaqub, so I can't corroborate that story. The story I can corroborate that I actually saw with my own eyes is the story that I'm telling you guys right now. Okay? And so he created those beings. They know who their father is. They're clear about that. Now, what he did was, as I told you, the Lunacars have the ability to take on another form. The form that he decided to take on was an angelic. So his original form is a god, but he did take on the form of an angelic, and he still had the God energy within him. I want you guys to understand this. Just because he's an angelic doesn't mean he doesn't have access to that Lunacar power. I need you guys to understand this. Now, there were different gods and different ET species and different beings that actually went with him. He was so powerful, it's really true that he did take 2/3 of the cosmos with him. That's a very real thing. But don't get it twisted and think that it was 2/3 of the angels. That's incorrect information. He literally took gods with him. He took ET beings with him. All types of different beings that sided with him all went with him. That's a very real thing. Lucifer was in love with him. Lucifer also was a loving goddess. Okay, a lot of people don't know this about Lucifer. Lucifer is a goddess. It is not a male. She is a female. And the great war that took place between Lucifer, the female, and the angelic was not Archangel Michael. It was a female angelic that defeated Lucifer. Okay? This defeated Lucifer in her godhood. The way the story goes is that during that time period, when Lucifer had turned dark, because she was good, according to Archangel Michael, he said that they used to go to war and fight battles together. Because I asked him what was the relationship between him and Lucifer, because I always wanted to know what the relationship was. And he explained to me that the relationship was that they were very good friends. They would go battling together. They would hang out. You know, there would be all the warriors would hang out. When she started getting into battle, Lucifer started developing what we call bloodlust. Michael didn't like that. So he started separating himself from her. During the process of Lucifer developing that bloodlust and her also being in love with Satan and all that, she did go dark. She was gaining power. And I want you guys to understand something. Lucifer and Satan control the southern quadrant of our solar system. Now, in the process of her actually getting the power that she was developing, they had to send out an archangel that was powerful enough to move against her. Don't ever think that just because somebody is a god, that an archangel can't come and defeat that being, because Source created what you call a checks and balance system. That's what people don't understand. Okay. Now, what they did was they took and switched the name out and said that it was Michael that went to war against Lucifer and defeated Lucifer. That's incorrect information. It was a female angelic that went to war against Lucifer and defeated her several times. There were several battles with Lucifer and its angelic, not just one battle. There were several battles with Lucifer. Okay. So I just wanted to just drop that piece of information because I know that we weren't told the correct starting point. So I just gave you another starting point. But these guys weren't always malevolent. Now, let me tell you what Source is doing, because Source created these deities, whether they're malevolent or whether they're positive. You guys got to remember, Source created the duality. So just like there's a light source, did you guys also know there's a dark source? And those beings that are operating on the dark side can access dark source. That's a very real thing. So I want you guys to understand that duality exists everywhere. Duality exists on this particular planet, and the higher up you go, then the duality splits. So for an example, you have two 5Ds. You got the 5D that's malevolent, and then you have the 5D that's benevolent. So just because you're going to 5D don't necessarily mean that you're going to be going to 5D here. I need you guys to understand that the higher up you go, the bigger and the better the devils get. Just because they're operating on a malevolent level doesn't mean that they're not operating with a higher vibrational frequency than you. We were taught to think a specific way, and it's just not accurate. So the higher up you go, you're always going to see that split. Why? Because of Source. Source is split like that. Source wanted to have the experience. Source itself has its own council. Ain't that deep?
Very deep. Who's this female angelic that defeated Lucifer? What's her name?
I don't know her name as of yet. I'm in the process of getting that information, but when I know, I'll definitely let you guys know her name.
Okay. Yeah, this is quite any books you could recommend that you or just like channel
that's going to tell that information. You're not going to find a book like that unless someone's bold enough to come out and write the book. Now you have fantasy books. I'm gonna tell y'all something. Your fantasy books are real. Start reading them. Mm-hmm. Those are documentaries. I'm in the process of writing a real documentary right now. It'll be classified under fantasy, but I'm telling y'all straight up, it's real.
Let's get to. We're gonna take about 2 more questions before we get out of here, family. It's been a great show. We still got about 4,400 people in the chat. Let's get to this next question. When are we getting superpowers, and how many people are? It's just a few. Question mark.
Everybody's currently activating right now, even as we speak. And every time that you hear of a solar flare, which is different from the solar flash, anytime that you hear about a solar flare, the sun is activating. So when you say to me, when are you getting your superpowers? Let me ask you a question. Are you meditating? Did you do your shadow work to get rid of all the things that's been clouding you in the first place, so that way you would be able to judge properly and discern properly what that is? Because if you haven't done that, you're not going to realize some of the things that you have the ability to do. Did you get your karmic cycles cleared? Because the karmic energy is dense. And so if you have heavy, dense karmic energy over your body, then that means that you can't access some of your gifts because you haven't did the necessary work to release that karma from your higher aspects. So those are some of the things. See, this is what I'm trying to make people understand. It's not as simple as, okay, well, I'm just going to get this, and this is what it's going to be. I need you guys to understand that there is work involved when you go through this process, and you have to continue to work and work and work until you get to a point of understanding and consciousness. You have to first get rid of the ego. That has to go. You got to know that you don't know everything. You have to become the student and remain in that space for a long time. I am a student for life. I don't even like when people say I'm their teacher. I'm like, nah, I'm not your teacher. Call me a guide. I'm not your leader. I'm a guide. I'm the one that's going to tell you these are the steps that you got to take to get to where you got to go. But don't think that you're going to skip yourself. You want to face the biggest demon in your life. That's you. Do the shadow work. Heal first. Get that baggage out the way so your mind can be cleared, so your perception isn't skewed. If you're carrying baggage on you, your perception is skewed. Therefore, you're not going to be able to see things in the proper way that you're supposed to see them. You're not going to be able to receive the information that you're supposed to receive because you're too busy still projecting onto others about your issues that have nothing to do with anybody else. Go inward. Start doing the shadow work. When you start doing that, start doing your meditations. You will get visitations. It'll start with your ancestors first. Your bloodline ancestors start coming to you first. Then your bloodline ancestors are going to turn you on to your cosmic ancestors. Then your cosmic ancestors are going to turn you on to the guys that are tied to your bloodline. And then it goes from there. But if you're not willing to put in that work and you're operating strictly out of ego, you're never going to get there. It is a process, and there's rules to this, okay? And there's steps to this. So I'm not the one that's going to blow smoke up your behinds and say, oh, this, that, and the third. No, put the work in. And don't blow up anybody who did put the work in. That's speaking on these things. I put the work in, and I stay putting the work in on a regular basis. I stay doing it. That's why it's so easy for me to have these conversations. I feel so comfortable being in the space because I know this is where I'm supposed to be. I'm on destiny. I'm on path, and I'm using myself as an example for everybody else, for them to get on destiny and for them to get on their own particular path. Because I'm gonna tell y'all something. You keep being worried about what everybody else got to say. Just keep in mind, you came here by yourself. You're gonna leave here by yourself. And the question you're going to ask yourself when you leave from here is what did I really do that really meant something? Did I get on my path? Do I even know who I am? If you don't even know who you are, then what have you been doing all these years? If I was to come to you right now and say, Black Magic 363, who are you? What star system do you come from? What's the name of your star family? Do you know?
No, I don't know the particular star system.
That's my point.
Yeah.
Why don't you know, baby? Why don't you know this information? And I'm asking everybody else this. The biggest journey you'll ever go on is the one discovery of self. And that's what they don't want you tapping into. They don't want you tapping into that power. I need everybody on this live to hear me when I say this. Go inward. Find out who you are and get your behinds on path. And stop playing around out here. Because it's going to get real here. It's going to get very real. You're going to see what you've been asking for. You want to see them Anunnaki? You're going to see what you've been asking for. But if you don't even know what kind of protections you got around you, who you could call on for assistance on a much more higher level, how to activate your own stuff because you haven't accessed you, if you don't know how to deal with that, then how are you going to be able to fight or defeat anything coming from someplace else? Y'all say y'all want that, but y'all don't know what you're asking for. You don't know what you're asking for. You can't even handle the shit that's on this planet right now. So how the hell are you going to handle something that's much more technologically advanced than you, that has a much more higher expansion of consciousness than you, because you chose not to tap into that? These are choices. People choose to be ignorant. That's a choice.
You know, I do have to give a shout out to Booker T. Coleman, Brother Kaba, when I was 18 years old. And I was on a journey to finding myself. My soul just immediately gravitated. This is before I knew how important the Sirius star constellation was. It just gravitated to any and all information about the Sirius star system. And he was giving classes in Harlem at the time. And I went to his class and I got what I needed. I learned how to recognize the Sirius star constellation, Orion's belt. And since that moment, my entire life, you know how like a person goes to get help or goes to people for advice or therapy, I always go outside and just look at the Sirius star for help and guidance, and it's helped me. I don't know what has helped me, but just being in within that energy has helped me
my entire counsel from Sirius,
my entire adult life. Say that again.
You have a counsel from Sirius. They have been talking to you. You need to go into meditation. And I'm going to tell you something else. Not only do you need to go into meditation, you need to call down your Sirius council and watch what happens. You're going to feel an energy come over you. You need to tap in. And I'm going to say this too. The very first quote unquote beings, ET beings to actually enter planet Kai, the very first ones did come from the Sirius star system. Okay, so a lot of us do have the Syrian bloodline within us. A lot of us do have it. Some of us come from Sirius C. Some of us come from Sirius X. Some of us come from Sirius B. Okay, it just depends on, but nonetheless, because I can see them and I can hear them. So you definitely need to do some meditation and ask your counselor to come forth and reveal themselves to you. And then you're going to see what
Mm,
time it is.
mm. Indeed. Let's get to one more question, family. I know y'all definitely enjoyed this show tonight. One more question.
About the chain, right?
Yeah. It was powerful, powerful. It was powerful from start to finish. No dead spots during the show at all. No, silence or nothing. A brother wants to know. I can't, for some reason, I can't put it on the screen, but somebody says I'm mixed between black and white. What happens to us during this transition?
I mean, you're fine as long as your heart's in the right place. As I said before, there are beings that are that look white or look Caucasian, but when I look at their chart, I can see that there's something else, and they chose to reincarnate in this lifetime with that particular skin color because there were certain things that they need to get accomplished they would not be able to get access to if they had brown skin. It is what it is. They come here, they do grid work, or they might need to get access to certain things that they might need to join certain clubs or certain whatever to get access to whatever they need to get access to do the necessary work. So I wouldn't get caught up in that aspect in terms of you being mixed. What I would be concerned about is your heart space, baby. Where's your heart space at? If you're operating on a vibrational frequency and you are operating from the heart space, that means you have something to contribute to 5D. Get into your heart space, and that's all you need to be concerned about. Get the karma cleared up. That's all you need to be concerned about. And get on path. Don't worry about your skin color.
Indeed. Wow. I want you, Isis Wisdom, to leave your contact information for anybody that's interested in contacting you. I know you offer services, your social media, your Telegram, your Instagram, your Facebook. Leave all that so they could, contact you if they're interested.
Okay, no Facebook, but you can reach me on Instagram. I am the realest to ever do it. TikTok, I am the realest to ever do it. Let's see, Instagram. There's Telegram. I am the realest to ever do it. If you want to get access to me, go to the Telegram because that Instagram, it's a lot going on there, and so you would be better off reaching me at the Telegram website, shopisiswisdom.com. You'll see the services and everything listed there. Go check out the website. Go check out the spiritual consultation section in particular. Go check out, that's where I offer the cosmic readings so you can find out more about who you are and what you are, things like that. The cosmic readings is like out of here right now. People are just, it's just crazy right now with me in those cosmic readings. You can even get E5 readings. That's also on the website. We can pay to get E5 reading for those who are interested in getting some things cleaned up in their lives. We also offer ancestor readings. My daughter does the ancestor readings, and she's a medium, a very powerful medium, and very, very much connected to the ancestors. We also have angelic readings. I have a fully embodied individual that works for me who was a fully embodied angelic, and he does angelic readings where he'll talk to your court and give you the messages. Okay? So that's how you can reach me. But everything is pretty much I am the realest to ever do it on pretty much every platform that I'm on, with the exception of YouTube. YouTube, Isis Wisdom.
Right. That's where I found you on YouTube. So yeah,
Yeah,
definitely let the
Isis
people know.
Wisdom on YouTube. Yeah.
Indeed. Well, it was a great show. I definitely appreciate you for coming on. Much success. I'm definitely going to do what you told me to do in terms of, contacting my Sirius Star Council.
Hit me, Sam. I know you think it's funny, but I'm telling you, hit me. We're gonna do some one-on-one. Hit me up, and you're gonna see. You're gonna see. But hit me up.
I'm gonna send you Cambada number as soon as we get off the line as well. Some of the things you be saying, Cambada, he do the shrooms a lot.
Yeah,
And he gets these super duper, he gets these super downloads, and he be telling me all types of shit. You know what I'm saying?
The downloads are nothing more than the beings communicating you and giving this information. So I do the shrooms. I just did an ayahuasca ceremony 2 months ago. I got a retreat that's coming up in August in Mexico, down here in Mexico. And actually there is going to be an ayahuasca ceremony that will be taking place specifically for upgrades. So I do all that, just all that. I do the same thing that he does and gets those same downloads and all that. That's why when I was listening to him, I was like, who's this dude? My son turned me on.
Magic 363. the Sea Star. Fleur Brun.
Fleur Brun, yes.
Fleur Brun.
Yes, you said it perfect. Yeah.
Well, yo, welcome to the show. Welcome to
Thank
the
you.
show.
Appreciate you having me on.
Good to have you on here. Very good to
Mhm.
have you on here. Look forward to tonight. A lot of
Definitely.
people were excited when I made the announcement. Very excited.
That's beautiful.
So for those who, being that this is your first time, for those who are looking to know more about you, could you
Yes.
tell the people a little bit about yourself before we get started?
Well, many know me as Florbrun or Delgadas. I've been on YouTube for since about over 10 years.
Yeah.
So I'm from the sector, the UFO sector, the supernatural sector.
Mm-hmm.
I'm originally from Mount Vernon, but as you know, I speak French. French is my first language. My parents are from Martinique and Saint Lucia. So big up to the island crew by way of South America.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Grew up in Mount Vernon, New York. I've been part of the UFO kind of metaphysical sector for a long time. I was under the tutelage of the late Dr. Blair. So many people know me from that group. I was a lecture head. So a lot of me know me as the geek from Mount Vernon, taking the train over to Harlem to do the lectures of like the greats as Bobby Hemmett, Dr. Delbert Blair, uh, Phil Valentine, and Ali. I mean, so many wonderful elders who have literally assisted with my growth and my evolution. So I'm so grateful for them. And I've been on YouTube for a long time speaking about many different topics, as you well know.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
A lot of the videos I've seen of yours, you definitely remind me of Delbert Blair and the information he disseminated. I have to ask you, in terms of UFOs, extraterrestrials, and a lot of the things you say, where do you get your information from? Is it channel? Do you have visitations? Is it book form? Is it like where do you get your information?
Yeah.
Because you say a lot of very interesting things.
Well, I'm a contactee, and I've
Contactee,
spoken about
okay,
a contactee.
okay.
Rather than saying that I'm a abductee, which was probably the term that was used for many years in the UFO sector,
Mhm.
my liaison with what you consider to be the galactics is very positive, very inspirational. A lot of the information that I've gained is just through being in contact, and I'm not one who channels. Everything comes kind of tangible. I'm a Sagittarius, so it has to come like face to face or more in a way that I can pick up or have a conversation with those who are so called from the other side. Um, and because I've had contact. I've made a lot of friends, and I had a lot of liaisons with people from that sector. So a lot of the information that I've gained is through personal wisdom, person to person, and also from just being around some amazing, magnanimous people.
Indeed, indeed. So we live in some interesting times. It's 2023. A lot is going on. What are they telling you about what's happening right now?
Well, I think this is it's weird because years ago,